Hello everyone and welcome back to the Warlock of Firetop Mountain. We have just finished clearing out the orc barracks, the orc quarters, and we are about to truly begin our adventure, at least the dangerous part of it. So, we are standing in front of this portcullis, and we know from the old adventurer that we need to pull the right lever, so let us proceed and do so. We hear a deep rumbling noise and the ground begins to shudder. Slowly and noisily the portcullis rises into the ceiling. We may now walk to the junction. Okay, so we came from the south, as always, and we might turn west or east. The last time we had an option similar to this, we turned west, and so let's mix things up and go east this time. Cautiously, we creep along the passageway. After a short time, it turns sharply to the north. At the corner, there is a bench of solid wood, and above the bench a sign reads, "Rest ye here, weary traveler." Here we may stop and eat provisions. Now in the first edition of this book, the rules explicitly stated that you were only allowed to consume provisions when the book told you so. The book allowed it in special encounters or rooms. This is no longer the case. We could eat a provision at any time we want, and we do not need to consume it, but I mean, we are at maximum stamina, so there is nothing that we can gain from it, but this place looks like a good spot to rest, take a breath. So since we do not know when we are going to be able to stop to catch our breath again, let us stop and eat provisions just for the fun of it. As we sit on the bench and eat our food, we begin to feel deeply relaxed, and the aches from our body seem to soothe themselves away. This resting place is enchanted. We restore 2 additional stamina points and 1 skill point. When we are ready to continue, we move along the passage. Now, this is great. If we were hurt, then this would have meant that our provisions would have healed us for 6 stamina points altogether instead of 4, so 1.5 times as effective. As it is, we gain nothing of it but some nice experience, and it makes me wonder why the Warlock has an enchanted resting place in the middle of his dungeon. Maybe he likes to rest and eat here, who knows. Anyway, let's move on to the east. We arrive at another junction in the passageway. So we could either turn west or go farther to the east. East has turned out to be quite useful so far, so let's continue going to the east, see what is there. After a few meters we reach another 3-way junction. We could either go northwards or eastwards again this time. Now this is an easier decision to make because we want to explore every nook and cranny in this dungeon, so we don't want to go northwards just yet. Let's continue eastwards, see what's there. The passageway ends in a sturdy wooden door. Alright, that's more like it. Let's enter, see what it holds for us. The door opens and we enter a small room. Our eyes widen as we look around to see that the walls of the room are covered in ornate stonework. Mosaics and marble inlays give this room a kind of beauty we have never seen before. In a corner of the room is a large metal statue of a one-eyed creature. In its single eye is a sparkling jewel. As there appears to be no other way through the room, we will have to go back to the junction, but that large jewel is very tempting indeed. Well, it looks more creepy than tempting, but definitely is interesting. And yeah, this is Cyclops. A stone Cyclops, it seems. metal statue, so it must be made of some kind of metal. Apologize. Since we are here, since we've come all this way, let's try to take the jewel with us. It's probably worth a fair price on the black market. We approach the statue cautiously. A scampering behind us makes us flash round, but it is only a rat, thankfully. We feel at the jewel, but it is solidly in place. We try to work our sword in behind it, and as we work, we hear an ominous creaking noise. To our horror, the statue is beginning to move. We jump down and draw our sword. The iron cyclops cranes its head round towards us and steps down from the pedestal. Okay, so here is our first encounter for the day. It's an iron cyclops. It is quite powerful, as you can see. Its skill level matches ours, so we can expect a 50-50 chance of it hitting us, or vice versa. But fortunately it only has a stamina level of 10, so it's much less durable than we are. And we also have the power of luck on our side, which I'll explain in a moment. Okay, so what happened now is that the Iron Cyclops managed to land a blow, but fortunately we managed to roll a 6 and the Crescent Shield blocked some of the damage, so instead of taking 2 damage we're only taking 1. That's great. Let's try again. Okay. It was a double roll and an instant kill. Easy peasy. I wanted to show off using luck in this battle. The way luck works is after a roll you can opt to roll against your luck, lowering your current luck level with each roll. And if you are lucky, you either deal 2 extra damage when you're on the attack, so when you've managed to land a blow, or you negate 1 damage when you were hit. And if you are unlucky, then you either deal only 1 damage, so half the damage if you damage the opponent, or you receive another extra 2 units of damage if the enemy hit you. So it's really a double or nothing kind of scenario. In some difficult fights, like this one looked to be, it's quite advisable to stack up with luck and use a few rolls at least to even the odds, but we managed to decapitate this Iron Cyclops with just our first successful blow. So let's see what we have in store, what we have achieved with this. We sit back and rest from the exhausting battle, although it was not that exhausting, it was just an exchange of blows, and we managed to deflect part of the first one anyway. We prize the jewel from the steel statue. It is heavy in our hand and is worth 50 gold pieces. We put it in our pack. As we explore the room and the statue, we notice that one of its breastplate sections is loose. When we open this, we find a small key inside. We examine it and notice the number 111 on it. With a smile, we put the jewel and the key in our pack. We receive 3 luck points for our discovery. Right, so if we had used up some luck points, we would have been able to restore it. And I apologize, but I have to stop right here. And we're back. So we did not use up any of our luck points, thereby rendering this option moot. And here is another spot where we could rest and consume provisions, but we've only lost 1 point of stamina damage, so so there is no point in doing so. We can just leave with our prize. Now we have 2 keys. as well as the eye of the Cyclops. We must be some kind of an expert at determining value of jewelry, because we immediately can tell that it is worth 50 gold pieces. Right. This fits in with the whole robber assassin thief background that we have, so makes sense. So we are ready. We set off back to the junction. Alright, we arrive back at the junction, and this time we turn northwards. That's correct. We came from the west, we cleared out the east, and now there is nowhere else to go but forward. The passage ahead ends in a sturdy door. We listen but hear nothing. We try the handle, it turns, and we enter the room. As we look around, we hear a loud cry from behind us and swing round to see a wild man leaping towards us, wielding a large battle axe. He is a mad barbarian. Okay, so seems like this barbarian is guarding this passageway. He is not very formidable. Let's dispose of him real quick. And he's down. A search of the room reveals nothing of any value, although an old box in the corner contains a wooden mallet and 5 short stumps of wood sharpened at one end. We take these and leave through the door in the north wall. Okay, so we have at least gained something out of this encounter. The door opens into a short corridor which ends several meters ahead at another door, similar to the one we have just come through. We listen and hear nothing. We try the handle and it turns, allowing us into another room of similar size. But this room is splendidly decorated, with a polished marble floor and rough walls painted white. On each of the 4 walls hangs a painting, and there is another door in the north wall. Alright, this is more than a little creepy, and it's quite interesting that in the middle of this dungeon, these caverns, there is a room like this, so elaborately created and maintained. We could run through this room, or we could examine the paintings, and since we're here to check out as much of this dungeon as we possibly can, let's do just that. Let's stop to look at the paintings. The paintings are portraits of men. Our spine shivers as we read the nameplate under the one on the west wall. It is that of Zaegor, the warlock whose creature we are seeking, whose treasure we are seeking. We look at his portrait and realize that we are pitting ourselves against an awesome adversary. We have the feeling that we are being watched and notice the piercing eyes following us as we move. We find ourselves drawn towards this portrait and our fear rises. We lose 1 skill point. Do we have the courage to try to combat the warlock? We could run away and lose 2 stamina points in addition to the 1 skill point that we have already discarded, or we could look through our pack for a weapon to use against the warlock's power, and I think it is time to show him who's boss. Let's see what we have that we could use against it. We try various pieces of equipment against the gaze of the painting, but none seem to work. So let's see if we can find something. We could slash the painting with our sword, although if it is a magic, an enchanted painting, then this sounds like a bad idea. We could throw some cheese at it, which sounds hilarious at least. Plunge a wooden stake into it, which might work, depending on how the magic is set up, or hold a jewel in front of it. Now, I like this option the best. I'm not sure if this will work, but at the very least we can show Zaegor that we have dispatched of his iron Cyclops. We can show him that we are more than a match for him. At the very least, we can prove our bravery, so let's go ahead and do just that. We take the Eye of the Cyclops out of our haversack and hold it in front of the Warlock. His intimidating stare turns into an expression of pain. He obviously feels the jewel's power. Suddenly, his eyes turn white and his expression goes limp. Our confidence grows as we realize that we have won our first real battle. We gain 2 skill points. Then, we put the jewel back into our pack and leave through the north door. This is most excellent. We are back up at skill level 10, so we haven't lost anything. And we have learned that this Eye of the Cyclops, this jewel, is actually a weapon against the Warlock's power. This piece of knowledge might come in handy soon. Let's proceed. We open the door into a narrow passage and follow it northwards. Some meters up the passageway, it turns to the east, then turns back into the north. However, at this second bend, there is a small alcove in the rock. It seems a convenient hiding place, and a large rock forms a comfortable seat. We could eat some provisions. I mean, this really sounds like a place to do it. Ah, what the hey. We don't need it. We have 2 units of provisions left and we are only missing 1 stamina point, but this sounds like a good idea, so let's stop here in this safe place and eat some provisions. We settle comfortably onto the large rock and take a short rest to eat some provisions. We feel refreshed and ready to continue our adventure. We gain the usual 4 stamina points, so this place is nothing fancy, but it's okay. We can continue northwards. We don't need so many units of provisions anyway. It makes our backpack lighter at least. Now that we have got rid of some. The passageway ends in another wooden door, this time a small one with a carved bone handle. We listen but hear nothing coming from inside. We try the handle and the door opens into a pear-shaped room with a rough stone floor, making walking across it somewhat awkward. In one corner of the room is a pile of rubble, mainly stones and dust, but there are also 2 odd-shaped pieces of wood and a length of rope. A door in the north wall leads on. We could just cross this room and not bother with the pile of garbage that's in the corner, but we are not here to do that, so actually let's take a look at what these items might be. First on the list is the bits of wood. Both pieces of wood are Y-shaped and smooth, as if washed up from a river. We decide to take them with you, okay? I have no idea why that is useful, but I guess it fits in our haversack now that we have eaten our food, and doesn't harm to take anything with us. Let's take a look at the rope. We pick up the rope. It looks normal. In fact, it looks as if it might be quite useful. We open our pack to put it in. Suddenly, it comes alive in our fingers, snakes quickly up our arm and attempts to wrap itself around our neck. We struggle to cut the rope with our sword before its grip tightens. We need to test our luck, but fortunately our luck is at maximum 12, so we are guaranteed to pass this attribute test. We do. We cut the rope and it drops to the ground. We have defeated this cursed artifact, and we can now proceed on our quest. Okay, we already collected the wood, so let's leave through the north door. The passage ahead leads us northwards. The rocky floor becomes sandy until eventually we are walking on a sort of coarse sand. We notice that the passage is widening, and ahead we can hear a flowing river. We continue until we find ourselves in a large cavern through which a river flows. We are now on the south bank of an underground river facing across its black depths. There appear to be 4 ways of crossing. To our left, a rusted bell bears the sign "Ferry Service. 2 gold pieces, please ring." There is a small raft in front of us on the bank with a long stick resting beside it so we could punt across the river. A rickety old bridge crosses on the right. If we don't trust any of these, we can still swim across the river. Alright, we have been told repeatedly that there is a river crossing the dungeon and that we will need to get across it somehow. And if we recall, we have also been told that we should pay our services to the boatman. Both the villagers and the old adventurer have given us this advice. So out of the 4 options, I don't like the looks of this rickety bridge. This sounds hazardous, more than useful. We could punt across, but this piece of wood also doesn't seem like a safe way to do so. Or we could swim. Again, probably not the best idea. We don't know what's lurking in these depths. But anyway, we have a ton of gold. We have 26 gold pieces, so we are more than ready to pay 2 gold pieces for the crossing. And this seems like the obvious option to take. So let's ring the bell and call the ferryman. The bell gives a dull clang, and after a few moments we see a withered old man climb into a small rowing boat moored on the north bank. He rows slowly across to us, moors the boat and limps towards us. He asks us for 3 gold pieces. When we protest at the price, he mumbles some flimsy excuse about inflation. He begins to get angry at our protestations. Alright, since the sign clearly said 2 gold pieces, I believe he is pulling our leg, but it's not like we're in a situation to haggle. We could threaten him, probably force him into a fight, and he looks like an old man, withered old man, but looks can be deceiving. And I believe that out of the 26 gold pieces we have gathered so far, we can spare 3 to cross, even though it is unfair. This is fine. If we are successful in our quest, we are going to pick up much more than the 3 that we need to expend now. So let's just grind our teeth, pay him this high price and get over with this and get across the river. He calms down, takes the 3 gold pieces and rows us across to the north bank. After mooring the boat, he ambles off down a passageway. Alright, we have just arrived on the north bank of a fast-flowing river in a large underground cavern. This is great. We have crossed the infamous river. We are still very well supplied. We have lost some units of provisions. We have consumed some units of provisions, some portions. But apart from that, we have everything we need to succeed. We still have our potion of strength. We have 23 gold pieces left and a whole bunch of items, including 2 keys with the numbers 99 and 111 respectively. I say that this is a perfect time to take a break, to catch our breath and to gather our wits and strength that we will surely need on the adventure ahead. And with that, I'm going to make the cut of the video right here, and I thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.